Hello and welcome to Suzuka for a Formula 3 series, an official iRacing race that we're joining here today just to entertain you a little bit. This is Short Shift Broadcasting. My name is Mark. We're looking at the information here. It's 23 degrees Celsius. So it's not a very hot day, but it's not cold either. 57% humidity, clear skies, and we have a wind of 25 kilometers an hour. That could hinder the drivers a little bit. The track temperature currently is 38 degrees Celsius. That's a fairly hot track. And we're getting ready to qualify individually for a 15 lap race. So let's take a look at some of the drivers that are in this race here. First up, we have Dutchman Danny Hoekstra, and he is currently on his outlap. And the Dallara Formula 3, he's been given the number 1. It's an 8-minute session to qualify. Drivers get an opportunity to do 2 laps, and the best of those 2 laps will count. So let's see who else is on the track here. We've got Federico Sanfrudos, Mario Ziegelbein, Markel Vioda, Peter Hatfield, and we have Connor Dennehy, Andreas Meringer, Alberto Andrade, Philip Kerner, and Alberto De Niro, Christopher Britton, Finn Klug, Jacob Colin, and we have a pretty good sized field, I'll say that. I'm not exactly sure how many drivers we have, but it looks like a pretty good field. So let's go back here and take a look at our friend Danny Hoekstra from the Netherlands. And he's on his first timed lap, I would think. See if we can bring up some sector times. Oh, and he loses it on his first lap there in Sector 2. Brings it back around, and there we go again. Let's take a quick look at what happened here. Oh, that's not Danny. There's more guys being in trouble, that's for sure. Yeah, can't find it, sorry. It's individual qualifying, and gets a little iffy to find other people. So Danny's back out here, his first lap completed. He's going to have to try again on another lap and see if he can make this work. And so far, I don't believe we have any times coming in yet. Everybody is still working on their first timed lap. We're looking at Connor Dennehy here. Let's find the number 2 driver is Shinzuki Hanzawa. I hope I pronounce it right. And he looks like he was quickest of all of them in Sector 3. And it looks like he's coming down to bring down his first lap, and indeed, for so far, he is the quickest driver, and he puts it on the provisional pole. And he's got a 154.02, and he's being followed by Mario Ziegenbein in second position with a 154.13. And we're looking at Connor Dennehy in the third position. And let's see if we can find Hoekstra here. His sectors are looking pretty good. Personal bests in Sector 2 and 4. And now in Sector 5. And he'll be coming up at the final chicane here. bringing it home on his second lap. Let's see what time he can post here. And Danny's not showing a time. He may have had an off. He's actually probably getting started on his second lap. He's still running for it. He's not showing a time just yet. We have 12 drivers that posted a time. And the provisional pole's been taken over by Agustin Castro with a 153.35, so quite an improvement from Hanzawa. And he's so far the only driver that breaks that 154 mark. Now there's another one. It's Naveed Hussain who breaks that mark as well. And then it's Connor Dennehy on his second lap actually breaks that 54 mark as well. He puts it in third with a 153.71, and Drillsma puts it on the fourth position with a 153.88. And it looks like Alex is done for his qualifying attempt. And it seems to me that Castro is still running. He's actually posting the best Sector 2 and Sector 3 times at this point. And a little bit off his previous pace in Sector 4. Going a little bit wide over the curb there. And once again here, coming back down the long straightaway where they have an alternative pit lane and an alternative grid. And once again, posting us a very fast Sector 5 time. Coming down to the final chicane here, and then it's a sweeping right-hander that will bring him back to the start-finish line. And let's see if he can improve on that pole time that he already possesses. And yes, he did. He pulled a 153.11 that makes him 4/10 of a second faster than the second placed car. Qualifying's almost done. Our friend Danny Hoekstra brought it back in 8th position with a 154.52. So let's take a look at the grid here in a little bit. Seconds taken away. We got official time over. There might be a few seconds added. No, it's individual qualifying, so it's not going to be. There's not going to be any added time. So let's take a look at the grid here real quick. On pole we have Agustin Castro in the number 5 car. Naveed Hussain alongside in the 3. The second row is for Dennehy and Drillsma. And then the third row for Hanzawa and Ziegenbein. Fourth row for Meringer and Danny Hoekstra in 8th position here. Then it's the fifth row for Sanfrutos and Donoro. Viota and Lopez share the 6th row. And then it's Colin and Robledo on the 7th row. Maguire and Britton on the 8th row. Hadfield and Stevens are on the 9th row. The 10th row is for Finn Klug and Urugord. Then it's Kerner, Chavion, and Andrade and Bornek. And that rounds up 24 drivers. Let's see if we have any more. Yes, we do. We have one more row. Durstmuller and Scoponi and 26 drivers on the grid. We're waiting for the drivers to grid up here, and we'll be taking the race with them here. Official race for the iRacing SimCube F3 Series. 15 laps on Suzuka. Not an easy track, not a short track, not extremely long, but it's an interesting track for very challenging for many of the drivers. So we're almost getting ready to go here. We are going to keep our focus for now on the lead of the race, and see if everything is going well. It looks like we're having a little bit of an issue. waiting for the start lights. They're coming on. And when they go out, we go racing. There we go. It's Castro in the lead at this point. Big chunk of cars coming down on the main straightaway and into turn one here. And Dennehy picks up the second spot in front of Hussein. Side by side through the turns there. It looks like the entire field is coming through pretty good. That's amazing. And Dennehy is in second, and Hussein in third, Drilsma in fourth, Ziegenbein in fifth. Very good. And then we see Hanzawa and Hoekstra. He is in seventh position, so he picked up a spot on the start there. It looks like Castro is already pulling away from Dennehy here. Quite a bit, actually, about a half a second already. And then Hussein is following in a couple of car lengths on Dennehy. And Drilsma here coming down, and Ziegenbein, and it looks like we have some incidents going on. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Oh, there in the back of the pack, somebody got touched here. Let's see what happens. He gets punted in the back here, taken out. Unfortunate. So let's bring her back up front. It's Dennehy in second position behind Castro at this point. And Naveed Hussein is in third, and then the cars get a little bit closer here. Drilsma is about 6/10 of a second behind Hussein, and 4/10 of a second behind him is Ziegenbein. And then we have Hanzawa in sixth, Hoekstra in eighth, and it looks like Hoekstra is having a little bit of trouble keeping up with Hanzawa there. So let's bring her up to the front. Dennehy is under attack from Hussein, but he can't quite make it work here. He's still in third, and then in fourth it's Drilsma. And then Dennehy. Long string of cars down the main straightaway here. Dennehy is in second place. Hussein is in third. It's Castro still out there in the lead. He's got a little bit under a second on the second place driver. And then it's Drilsma in fourth. Oh, and somebody's lost the front wing there, and oh, nope, that's an iRacing glitch. He's back in good shape. Every once in a while that'll happen on a curb. The computer thinks you hit something and you didn't. So let's bring her back here to Dennehy. Second position, a long string of cars behind him, and he's about a little over 2 seconds gap with Castro. Castro safely in the lead here in the yellow car. Dennehy in second. He's got Hussein to worry about. Coming towards the back end of the track with two fast left-handers here. Tricky turns. Running wide over the curbs, all three of them. Ooh, and he has a little wiggle there, that Dennehy. And Hussein is sticking with him pretty good. Hussein's got a bit of a connection issue there. And looks like Danny Hoekstra is battling with Hanzawa now. He got his nose ahead there for a little bit, but he couldn't quite make it stick. That's for fifth and sixth position now. We may have had an incident in between there. Let's take a look. Ooh, there we have another car. That is Philip Urquhart, and he's lost his rear wing in that incident. And that looks like Philip Kerner. That he had that incident with. Let's go back up to the front here. Castro still in the lead. Naveed Hussein is in second position, and then it's Dennehy who lost that second position to Hussein. Something must have happened between those two guys. And Dennehy is being challenged by Drilsma now in fourth position. Then it's Hanzawa is in fifth. And Hoekstra fallen back a little bit from Hanzawa now and having to worry about Meiringer behind him in seventh. So Meiringer is getting really close here now. Let's stay with these guys here for just a bit. Under the bridge, one of the very few tracks in the world that is actually an 8 where they cross over. You saw the bridge there. Hoekstra hanging on to that 6th position for now. Looks like he's regaining his confidence and putting a couple of car lengths on the 7th place car, Andreas Meringer. Bring it back and check on Naveed Hussain. He's in 2nd. It's Dennehy that still has to worry about Drilsma. Drilsma running a little bit white there. And then you can see in the background, that's Hanzawa and Hoekstra and Meringer, and the gaps are getting a little bit bigger here. Let's bring her back up here to Hussain. He's fairly safe now, and we got Drilsma putting an attempt on Dennehy, and he takes that position away from him. Good pass. Red Bull car takes over 3rd position from the number 19 of Connor Dennehy. And we've got see if we can find some people. There's some people in the pits here. They must have had some incidents. Bring her back up to the front. It's Castro still in the lead. We're talking lap 4 of 15. He's 4 seconds ahead of Hussain. And Drilsma looks like he's getting away from Dennehy a little bit, and he might be challenging Naveed Hussain fairly quickly here. Dennehy following in 4th, Shinjuku Hanzawa is in 5th, Hoekstra is still in 6th, and Meringer still in 7th. It looks like Donuro is catching up with these guys as well in 8th position. Let's take a look here at Drilsma. He's closing in definitely on Hussain. Only 3/10 of a second now, both running wide over the curb. Actually may pick up a couple of safety rating drop points there. Drilsma now being challenged again by Dennehy. Coming back towards the back end of the track here. Fast part here, pretty much all out, and then there's 2 left-hand turns that take you back to the another long straightaway. Dennehy closing in under braking, running wide over the curb there. This turn is a little bit slower than the first one. Trying to catch the draft here on the backstretch. Dennehy following Drilsma. Fight for 3rd position. Ooh, and it looks like Hussain has got a bit of a connection issue. And, Drilsma is now closing in on him. Coming to the outside at the chicane. Let's see if he can make... No, he can't make that work, and it's Dennehy trying to profit from that. Can't stick it in there either. So really the order is not changed, but it was getting a little close and dicey here. And meanwhile we have Hanzawa still in 5th, and then it's Hoekstra being challenged by Meringer, and up front it's Drilsma trying to challenge Hussain. He can't get it done just yet. And the smoke you see, that has to do with the connection issues. Castro is well out in front, 4.2 seconds ahead. Drilsma is challenging Hussain for 2nd place and being challenged for 3rd by Dennehy here. Well, let's roll along with him for a few moments. Dennehy chasing Drilsma. Tapping that curb here. Going right under the bridge. Let's see if he can make anything work here, coming to that hairpin turn. And it looks like Drilsma's trying to be defensive on that inside line, and Dennehy can't quite make that work. But he's getting close, and he should be catching a little bit of a draft here. Let's see if he can get by and alongside. He's trying to. 2 fast turns coming up. He's on the inside now. Ooh, and they touch. And he takes out Drilsma with that move. That's not pretty. I don't believe he did it on purpose, but let's see if we can bring that back here. There he goes. He touches him on the right rear wheel. Drilsma was trying to turn in, and Dennehy was already alongside. So that tells me that someone wasn't listening to his spotter. So let's bring her back up to the front here. It's Augustin Castro still in front. Hussain in 2nd, fairly comfortable. Then it's Hanzawa now challenging Dennehy. Dennehy may have lost some time there with that incident, and that meant that Suzuka Hanzawa caught up with him, and he is taken away to 3rd position from him now. That brings Danny Hoekstra in 5th position, who still has Meringer to deal with. back here in 5th and 6th position. Pretty exciting race, I will say that. And it looks like Castro is 5.5 seconds out in front. It's Hussein with with a little bit of a connection issue here. Dennehy is in 3rd, and he has taken that position from Hinzawa. And it looked like we were still a little bit on delay here. Let's bring it back. Dennehy is ahead of Hinzawa now, under the bridge. String of cars behind him. Danny Hoekstra is right there in 5th. Meringer in 6th. Hinzawa is challenging on the outside. And Dennehy taking a defensive line here. Hoekstra catching up under braking. But Hinzawa and Dennehy come off the turn a little bit quicker than him. And Hinzawa now going to the inside. That's toward the same turn where we saw that incident with Dennehy and Drilsma. This time it's Dennehy still keeping it in front of Hinzawa there. He holds on to 3rd position. Castro still in front, almost 6 seconds ahead, and it's Naveed Hussein who's more than 2 seconds ahead of these guys. Danny Hoekstra being challenged by Meringer in the background there, and Hinzawa and Dennehy side by side coming towards the chicane. Dennehy touches Hinzawa in the back there, and it looks like Hinzawa can keep going, but that was not a pretty move. Let's bring that back real quick. Oops, wrong incident. Coming towards the chicane, it looks like Hinzawa, and it's just on the left front. It looks like netcode. Netcode, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when the computer thinks they touch, but they're not actually touching. And unfortunately, sometimes that can cost you a race or a position. It's very unfortunate, but you know, it's a simulation. It's not perfect. So Dennehy sticks to 3rd position now. He's over 2 seconds behind Hussein. Danny Hoekstra picks up 4th position because of that unfortunate incident, and Meringer is still on his tail. Then a little bit further back we have Donero and Durstmuller. Then it's Frederick Sanfrutos chasing Durstmuller. It's Mark Stevens right behind him there, and a little bit further back in 10th position we have Rod McGuire. And let's bring her back here to Dennehy, and he's got Hoekstra behind him now. And let's see if we can bring up some statistics for you here on Danny Hoekstra. Danny Hoekstra is about a second behind Dennehy, and then Meringer is a little bit closer to him. You can see that on the bottom right of your screen in the battle bot. That's the battle for 3rd position. Dennehy currently has it, and Hoekstra wants it. Up front, it's Castro now over 7 seconds ahead, and Hussein is a little bit, he's not that far, he's almost 2 seconds ahead of this group here. So Dennehy is still hanging on to 3rd. Hoekstra is defending his 4th position from Andreas Meringer here in Suzuka. Coming down the main straightaway, pretty much halfway into the race. We're going into lap 8 now. And Meringer really getting close to Hoekstra, but not really close enough to make anything happen. And let's got some other close things going on here. This is Jacob Cooling, and he's challenging Lopez for 12th. And it looks like he's on the inside here, and he looks like he's going to make that work. That is pretty cool. Good move. And of course now it's up to Lopez to challenge him again. I had those names backward, I think. This is Lopez, and he was challenging Colin. Sorry about that. And let's bring her back up here. This is Castro. He's well ahead of the 2nd place driver. He's past the back marker there. That's not for position. And it's Naveed Hussein still in 2nd. And then it's Connor Dennehy is in 3rd position. Danny Hoekstra now about a 1.5 seconds behind Dennehy. And Mehringer in 5th position is right behind Hoekstra. Right along with him there, you're looking at Danny Hoekstra there in the 4th position, and you're riding along with Andreas Mehringer in 5th position, coming towards a very, very fast sweeping left turn. It's pretty much full out. Ooh, back marker there, almost ruining Danny's race. And then you get to the chicane here, the final chicane, right, left, and then into a sweeping right-hander that brings you onto the main straightaway. There we go, in front of the pit complex now, finishing another lap and starting lap 9. Let's see if we got some more action. Colin and Lopez, the gap has grown a little bit. And Lopez is still in 7th in that situation here. Then we have Donero, and he's got Maximilian Durstmuller behind him in 7th position. And let's go back up here to Danny Hoekstra. It looks like this is currently the closest battle we have going on. Mehringer seems to be losing a little bit of ground. Oh, and there goes Hoekstra. And he saves it from going into the wall, but now he's got to be really careful not to get in anybody's way on the racing line. That is good work here. Ooh, one driver misjudged that a little bit, was afraid Danny was going to back up. Let's take a look here at, ooh, that's the driver, Rod McGuire. That was his escape of not running into Danny. There you see Danny standing. See if we can bring that incident with Danny Hoekstra. Nope. There you see McGuire going around Hoekstra, losing it in the process. That's a fast turn. You don't really have that much margin for error there. Hoekstra gets by him again, and McGuire rolls it onto the race line there. I hope he didn't take anybody with him there. So that drops Danny Hoekstra down to 9th position. He's behind Sanfrudo's by about 8 seconds, and he's got Markel Viota behind him in 10th with about 1.3 seconds between him. And it looks like Naveed Hussain has closed the gap. Dennehy has closed the gap on Naveed Hussain. So there you have Hussain and Dennehy, and Hussain still with a little bit of issues there. Dennehy right behind Hussain, running on that curb pretty wide. You see Hussain disappearing every now and again, and that's just a connection issue, and hopefully that's not going to harm Dennehy here. And it looks like Hussain, iRacing is having a little trouble with Hussain here. Battle for 2nd position. And it looks like Dennehy is 4 seconds clear of Mehringer, who got that 4th position after Hoekstra's little spin. So Dennehy and Hussain is pretty much the closest thing we have going on here. Let's hope that the connection issues aren't going to decide that for them. And we have Lopez and Colin. It looks like Colin has gotten back ahead of Lopez once again. And then a little bit further back in 14th, we have Chavon and McGuire. That's the one that McGuire, that's a little bit further back. I'm sorry. It's Chavon here behind Andrade. Ooh, and Andrade brings it around and backs it into the guardrail, and Chavon gets the position from him. There you have it. Let's bring that back out of the hairpin, getting on the throttle too quickly. And he runs it backwards into the rail. It looks like the wing is damaged but not broken off. All right, back up live here. Dennehy has indeed passed Hussain. And Hussain now right in this draft on the main straightaway. They're going to have to arc out for the turn. Ooh, almost touching there. Hussain bringing it around the outside. And then he's gone. Too bad iRacing didn't show us that. But yeah, he picks up that 2nd position with a sweeping pass around the outside in turn 1. That was a very brave move, I would say. So Dennehy back in 3rd. And Mehringer's kind of by himself in 4th. And then it's Mark Stevens in the number 4 car in 5th. Durstmuller is in 6th. And we have Sanfrudos in 7th. And he's being followed by Hoekstra by about 7 seconds. Hoekstra has Vioda in his mirrors. And then in 10th place, it's Jacob Colin. And he's past Lopez for that position. Bring her back up here to the front. Dennehy is not quite done with Hussein just yet. We're talking lap 11 of 15, so we're getting close to the end. Let's see if Dennehy can make something work. And once again, Hussein with these connection issues, and that is tough for Dennehy because now you see him, now you don't. You don't really know where to place your car. So hopefully these issues are not the deciding factor in this battle. And I hope it's just a clean pass if they decide anything. It looks like Dennehy is nosing ahead now on the backstretch. He's in front when they're going left in the fast turn here. And let's see if Hussein can make anything work in the chicane. Ooh, locking up the brakes. It's Dennehy now in 2nd position. And Hussein drops back quite a bit here in this last turn. He may be damaged somewhat. It's hard to tell. Let's see if we can close in on him a little bit. I can't really tell. Maybe that right front wing. Yeah, that right front wing is damaged a little bit, and that costs him downforce, and that caused Dennehy to get alongside and take advantage of that. Dennehy now in 2nd position. He's about 11 seconds behind Castro. Let's give Castro some airtime here. He's doing a wonderful job in the lead. He's running very fast. The last lap he ran was a 153.7. And there's guys that don't make that in qualifying. And he's well out in front, 11 seconds clear of Connor Dennehy. And it looks like he's got this race under control. Dennehy in 2nd. Looks like Dennehy is getting clear of Hussein by a little bit at least. It's not quite a second yet. But yeah, now you can definitely tell that that front wing on Hussein's car is bent, and that causes him to that causes 2 problems. First of all, it creates more drag, so it's costing him top speed, and it's upsetting the balance, the aero balance in the car, so the behavior of the car in the turns will be affected by that most certainly. So a little bit further back, we have Andreas Meringer still by himself here. Mark Stevens has run a very fast lap, a 153.8, so it looks like Mark Stevens in the number 4 car there, the red one. He is quicker than Meringer, so we'll keep an eye on these 2 guys for a little bit as well. That might be something brewing for 4th and 5th position. Coming through the chicane here. And it looks like Mark Stevens from the Benelux, either Belgium, Netherlands, or Luxembourg, doing a good job here. And his last lap was also about a second faster than Meringer. So yeah, he might be catching up. There might not be enough time. It's hard to tell. We are on lap 13 of 15, so he's got 2.5 laps to make this work, and it looks like he's getting closer now. It's or is that a back marker? Can't tell. Nope, that's Meringer. So this is for position indeed, and it looks like Stevens is only 0.2 of a second behind him. So yeah, Stevens can make something work here. He's definitely quicker than Meringer. Not by just a little bit. A second per lap in a class like this, that's quite a bit. So let's see if he can come off that hairpin here on that long sweeping turn. He should be catching a little bit of a draft. And let's see if he can make anything happen. No, he's not close enough just yet. And meanwhile, let me tell you up front, nothing is changing. Dennehy is still in 2nd. Hussein is now about 4 seconds behind Dennehy. Meringer and Stevens is what you're looking at for 4th and 5th position. And it looks like Stevens is he's getting alongside now. It looks like Meringer let him go. He'd thought the better of it. He'd rather finish than not making it at all and take each other out. Mark Stevens picks up 4th position. Meringer is now in 5th. Then it's Durstmuller still in 6th. And it is Sunfrutos in 7th. Hoekstra in 8th. Not much battling going on anymore here. Vioda is in 9th. And Colin is in 10th position. Let's check in on Dennehy here. 2nd position, 12 seconds behind this man. That's Agustin Castro, well out in front. And we're on lap 14 now, just getting started on 14. So next time by, he will see the white flag. Ooh, and the leader runs wide here. What is that? He seemed to be in control completely, and he runs wide here in that right-hand turn. Let's see if we can bring it back. Nope. No, unfortunately not, but Castro is still in the lead. His advantage on Dennehy has shrunk by about 4 seconds because of that incident. So it went from 12 to 8. It's still not close enough for Dennehy to make anything happen. But yeah, that was you know, you don't want to take yourself out just this close to the end. It looks like tire wear for Castro might be a bit of an issue, and we'll keep an eye on him here. We don't want to see that happening again. Dennehy in 2nd, and it's Hussein in 3rd. He is about 2 seconds behind Dennehy with a damaged wing. We've seen that. Mark Stevens is still running pretty strong. His last lap was a bit slower than his previous one, but he's strongly in 4th position. He's got Meringer right behind him here, and then it's Durstmuller in the 6th position. So let's check on Dennehy here. Hussein is about 3 seconds behind him now, so Dennehy looks pretty safe in 2nd. Stevens once again running a 53.6, and that's a good lap, especially this late in the race. And Castro's lap was a 158 because of that off track that he had. Dennehy in 2nd, and Hussein in 3rd, and Stevens is in 4th. We're on the final lap now. There's probably too much gap between the drivers up front here to make anything happen. Hussein still having some connection issues. Castro is in the lead. Coming down to the hairpin turn here. And he looks like he's a little bit more careful now. And I don't blame him. Dennehy is about 6 seconds behind, so that means that Castro's definitely taking it easy and making sure he can make it to the end. Hussein is about 3 seconds behind Dennehy, and then it's Stevens running very strong. He had a 153.6 as a last lap. He's the quickest of the leading group, definitely. Wide over the curb, almost loses the back end there. Once again, that is a tricky turn. It looks easier than it is. Meringer still in 5th. So we got your top 5 drivers here. Castro, Dennehy, Hussein, Stevens, and Meringer. We're on the last lap. And it's Agustin Castro coming to the final chicane here in the yellow Benson and Hedges car. He's going to bring it home. The winner, he takes it all. He's run a very strong race, and he had one little issue. And there he goes. It's Dennehy in 2nd. It's Hussein bringing it home in 3rd. Stevens, Meringer, Durstmuller coming in the background there in the blue car. Sunfrutos bringing it home in 7th. And Danny Hoekstra brings it home in 8th after one issue earlier in the race when he was running in 4th position. And further back, we have Vioda is already finished, and it looks like Colin is coming home in 10th. Lopez, that was fighting with him earlier, has dropped to 13, so he must have had an issue. It's Jakub Colin in 10th position. Well, that was a fun race. Formula 3s at Suzuka. always makes for good racing. We saw some incidents, unfortunately, and we saw some good passes as well. Enjoyable stuff. Formula 3 is a cool car to drive. It's basically your step up to the next bigger classes like Formula Renault 3.5 and then ultimately Formula 1. The Formula 3 is a great training ground between the new USF 2000s and Renault 3.5. We're waiting for Urquhart in 17th position to finish, and then Finn Klug. We're waiting on these guys to bring him home. There we go. Finn Klug is home, and Urquhart is the last rolling driver to bring it over the finish. And that brings us to the final results of this race here. Castro wins it. Dennehy is in second. Hussein is in third. That's your podium finishers right there. And then Stevens, Meringer, Durstmuller, Sanfrudos, Hoekstra, Viota, Colin. That's your top 10 drivers right there. And that does it here for Suzuka, the Formula 3 race. Official iRacing race. So the incidents that you saw will cost people some of their safety rating, unfortunately. A very cool series, the SimCube Formula 3 series from Suzuka in Japan. This is Short Shift Broadcasting. My name is Mark. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and we hope to see you again pretty soon.